we're going over parts of chapters 13 and 14. There's going to be some things that we skip over here. I didn't list the specific sections that we're covering. Just come to class and you'll know the parts that we're doing here for this unit. And you'll notice things on here like number 1 right away. It says define the terms period, frequency, wavelength, and amplitude. Those are some of the multiple choice questions on the homework, but I'd probably just ask you for those definitions in multiple choice form. This is a question on the exam, and there are some what I would consider pretty easy points in the exam. Most times we're solving problems. It's rare that I just ask you to define something or describe something. I've maybe before said define the law of conservation of momentum, so you did one like that, but most times we're just solving problems. There are maybe 20 to 30 points of this exam that is just drawing diagrams, defining some words, describing some things. There are some easy points on here and they're right here on the objectives, and I'll point them out to you when we get to them, but there are, I think, more easy points of those forms like that where I kind of just tell you to define or describe something more in this unit than there have been in the past. So that's one thing that can make this unit a little bit easier, is that you can probably guarantee yourself 20 or 30 points just knowing ahead of time exactly what kind of pictures and definitions you'll need to know for the exam. So you'll see that like for number 1 there. Number 5 is another definition, described by definition and example, the difference between transverse and longitudinal waves. That's another question that ends up being on the exam all the time. State the perceptual variables for number 6, which correspond to frequency, intensity, and harmonics. That's something else that I usually ask in the exam, and these are points that you have them right here. I don't change them at all. They look just like they do here. There's times here where this is just information that we're giving you that I'm asking you to give back to me on the exam. Most of physics isn't that way, and that's why it's been hard for some of you, because it's not just about me telling you an answer and then you giving it back to me 2 weeks later.
It should be.
It should be, maybe. And there'll be some things on here where you'll see, like number 3 says construct a graph of displacement versus time for an oscillating system. You have to think a little bit about those, but that should also be one where it's not free points, but you'll know exactly what I'm looking for on that. You should be able to draw those. Those don't require a whole lot of calculations. And there really isn't a ton of math here in this unit. There's no vectors, there's no things that are, in my mind, as complicated as things that we've done before. There's some here, but there's just, I think you'll find that there are some topics that might be a little bit easier. We're talking about waves and sound now, though. So wave motion and the mathematical description of a wave is different than what we've seen. So we're not talking about the same kinds of forces and things that we've seen before. So it'll feel different today when we're getting into oscillations, but people usually do pretty well in this material here. So my hope is that, as I say, this is usually the easier unit. I hope you prepare for this, work hard these next just week and a half here that we have before the test. Knock that test out before the break. Know that you had an A, and go eat some turkey and have a good break. We'll come back and have 2 weeks on heat and thermodynamics, which is a little bit more intensive than this unit is here, but this is one where just you need to bear down for the week and a half here. This is a test where, if you haven't got an A yet, this is the test where you probably have your best chance of getting an A this semester, because the final exam will be harder than this test right here, I can tell you that. Just Unit 6 material is harder than this for most people, and then on top of that we have some comprehensive questions. So if you need an A, this is the test that you have probably the best chance to get one on. So get started with this homework right away, you'll get that part done, and then we'll just keep doing some more coming up next week. Okay.